Hey y'all, fall is pretty much officially here, which only means one thing. It's Crockpot season. So we are making a slow cooker miso chicken that is just going to be served over rice, but the beauty of Crockpots is you throw it in there, let it ride all day, and then you don't have to worry about prepping anything for dinner. So super simple, comes together super quick, so let's jump right in. All right, I love a good crock pot meal, but I'm not quite ready for chili, so this is kind of like a tweener. So we're gonna start with some chicken. This is about 1.5 pounds, £1.40, whatever. And then some peanut butter, some miso sauce or paste. It's miso broth concentrate. This is the only recipe I've ever used this for. I've actually never had miso up until cooking this. And this is super good. This lasts super long, just like grated ginger does. So it looks like a lot, but it'll last you a while. Now we have some soy sauce. If you don't have soy sauce, use tamari. That is totally fine. Then we've got some maple syrup, some rice vinegar, and this is the grated ginger I was talking about. Lasts forever. And then some garlic. The recipe says 2 teaspoons, but I mean, just to guess, do like 2 to 3 little bulbs of garlic. We're gonna grate that before we put it in the crock pot. And then just some scallions as a topper for at the end. All right, so this is the chicken that I already cut up into strips. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Now the recipe says 4 tablespoons of peanut butter, so I'm just gonna guess it. And then we're doing 2 tablespoons of the miso paste. I believe there's like white miso and then dark miso. I don't really know what that means, but this is just what I found at the store to mean. I think it's all the same. And then 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce. Now we're gonna do about 1.5 tablespoons of the maple syrup. I don't even know why I'm measuring. I would say just slightly overflow a tablespoon, and that's about right. Then 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. And then 2 teaspoons of the grated ginger. I have a teaspoon little thing, but I'm not gonna measure. I'd say just like 2 plops, kind of like that. And then we've got 2 teaspoons of garlic. So I'm using like 3 to 4 garlic cloves. Just press that in there. And then just stir it up. So our job here is pretty much done. We have nothing left to do except cook this either low or high heat. It just depends how much time you have. If you're starting this in the morning, of course, then let it ride all day on low. So when you get home from work or whatever it is, then it's all done and ready to shred. I did almost forget, by the way, rice. Not that we're putting this in here by any means, but we're gonna serve this over rice. If you don't wanna do rice, do vegetables, but just make however much you want. This will probably serve 2 to 3 people. In the recipe description, I'll do the measurements for this recipe, and then I'll also double it if you want to make it for like a family or meal prep it for the week. But I'm going to go put this in the little warmer in the back, and we will wait. All right, this has been doing its thing for about 2 hours on high. It's looking a little bit dry just as it's been cooking, so I'm going to throw in some bone broth. If you don't have bone broth, use water. That's totally fine. But I think it's about done. I'm gonna try shredding it and see where we're at. Okay, so it's definitely done. And as I keep trying to stab this to pull the chicken out, it's falling apart. So 2 hours on high is definitely the way to go, in my humble opinion, because I'm impatient. But just shred this, dump it back in here, and then we'll be ready to serve it. All right, now for the best part. It's the assembly part. All right, this obviously doesn't look the prettiest, so we're gonna dress it up with some scallions, just a little green, little red pepper flakes, and then sesame seeds. You don't have to do any of these toppings if you don't want, but it just helps it look a little bit prettier. All right, it's safe to say that's one of the easiest crock pot recipes I've ever made. I would argue it's easier than chili because you guys know how much I hate opening cans. So none of that mess with this, super easy to meal prep. Cozy kind of intro into fall type crock pot meal. So hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you next week.